Hi guys, this is Siva Reddy. Welcome to Core Java tutorials. In this session, I will explain TreeSet using user-defined objects. So I will explain this concept using an example. So I am going to create a new class and I am giving as TreeSet user-defined object. I would like to have a main method. I'm selecting it, click finish. So in the previous tutorial we have seen how to implement the TreeSet using a string objects. So by default TreeSet sorts the string object in the ascending order. Okay, and second one is it don't allow the duplicates. So now let us go ahead and implement for the user defined objects, and we do see what is the difference we found there. Okay, so I am going to say emp set equal to new tree set. So for this tree set, the only input it needs to accept is employee object. So I have declared generics. I am importing from the java.util. Now in the previous example, I also taking the employee class to demonstrate all the user defined objects. So in this class employee, I have two properties, employee ID, employee name, and one constructor to initialize these properties, and display method to display this employee ID and employee name. So I am going to use this class, and I will explain TreeSet example. Okay. Now I need to create a few employee objects. Employee 1 emp equal to new employee of 101, and I'm giving as a Shiva Reddy. Okay, and now I'm going to create few more employee objects. I'll copy paste so that it will reduce the effort, and I'm just refining as per our requirement. And here I am giving randomly so that it is easy to understand. 4 and 2. Here I am giving as a 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now I have created 4 employee object. I am going to add these to the employee set dot add emp1, and I will add 2, 3, copy pasting, and 2, 3 and employee 4. So added to the employee set. So now what I am doing is using the for each loop, I am iterating this set emp set. So employee object have the display method. Now when we are trying to iterate and run this program, you do see an exception saying class cast exception com.siva java.techie.core java employee cannot be casted into java.lang.comparable. So in the previous session when I am explaining using the string objects, by default this string class implements the comparable, where it has overriding the comparative method, because those are like a wrapper class, the string object by default it has a different implementation. But in this scenario what we are doing is the user defined, this is a unknown class for the JVM. So this is we are creating this class, and then we are trying to implement the TreeSet. TreeSet by default use this natural ordering using the comparable interface. Hence it is unable to identifying this employee class does not implement the comparable interface. That is the reason it is throwing the exception. So in order to make this done, we need to go for this employee class and we need to implement an interface called comparable. Okay, this is the interface. So here it is also a generic type, so I am giving employee class itself because I want to apply this comparable to the employee class itself. And this comparable interface have one method, that is compare to method. So we need to override this method. Okay, so what the logic inside you need to return, because in the case of user defined object you will have multiple variables. For example, if we take the employee class, I have two member variables, that is employee ID and employee num. Now you need to define on what parameter basis the sorting should work. Either it is based on the employee ID or either it should be based on the employee name. So that logic we need to implement. So at this point of time I am using by using employee ID as a sorting mechanism. That means the result of the sorting is based on the employee ID in the ascending order. So as it is a natural order, so it will be natural ascending order will come. So here what the code we need to write is, I am just refining this name to emp, and what the logic we need to define is this dot emp id. If this dot employee id equal to emp dot get employee id, if it is true then return 0, else if this dot employee id is greater than emp dot get employee id, then return 1, else return -1. Okay, so else it is if. Okay, that's all. Now I have defined my logic by saying if both employee ID and whatever the employee ID we pass, if it is same, then it will return 0, otherwise it will be written 1, else it will be written -1. Now okay, so now I go to the main class where we have defined. Now we run this program and see what is the output. We see now it is sorted based on the employee ID in the ascending order. Okay, so this is how you need to define. But if you can define a descending set also, see this is coming in the descending order. So by default if you don't provide anything, then it will take as a ascending order. If you want in the descending order, then you can dot, while creating a TreeSet implementation you can define a descending set or ascending set. Based on that it will sort. But the funda is, whenever you are working with the Java related classes like a integer or a float or string, they know, the TreeSet know what is the implementation, and it will automatically perform the natural ordering. But in the case of user defined object, we need to implement an interface called comparable, and then we need to override the compare-to method. In the compare-to method you need to write the logic on what basis the sorting should work. Either it is based on the employee ID or either it should be based on the employee name. If your requirement is based on some other different things, then you need to implement that logic here. Then TreeSet automatically it will sort the user defined objects. Hope this concept is clear. If you have any questions, please comment on my YouTube video. Thank you so much.